Hey, welcome back to the show. This is Heather Hope, your host for the Inspired Entrepreneur. Okay, so today we are going to let's check out our topic for today. Welcome if you have never been here before, never listened to any of these podcasts or have never followed me on Facebook. Like I said, my name is Heather Hope. I'm a law of attraction business coach, mentor, teacher, inspirational writer, and speaker. And this podcast is primarily my daily book. I have a book that I'm almost done with writing, and it is a daily, like, perpetual calendar. I'm not sure still what it's called, but it's one of those where you can have it on your desk. You can look at each day. It's not a desk calendar, it's a book. So it's you flip to your day. So today is September 9th, and you get to read my little message for you. So some are going to be just one sentence, one statement, a quote, or a little bit longer stuff. So it all came from a lot of the stuff that I've written over the past year, well, year and a half, 2 years of, combining the law of attraction and business. And I've learned a lot. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I'm here to really spread the truth, which is really funny because I hate when people say that. The truth. The truth is whatever you make it to be. But anyhow, so I'm heavily influenced by Abraham Hicks, and I love Sanaya Roman. I'm really been getting into Bashar, and let me know in the comment section down below what channel this is. I only follow channeled, like Source Energy, Infinite Intelligence, that sort of thing. I do not follow any law of attraction teachers, any humans, unless they channel Infinite Intelligence. That's where I'm at now. That is the level that I get to now, because everybody else is a human and they're making up crap that's not true. And that's the way it is. So here we are. Okay, so September 9th. Thank you for being here anyway. Okay, let me get my drink because now I'm getting thirsty all of a sudden. Okay, September 9th. Make your intention for today. Today I will see the signs all around me. That's your intention for today. So, for instance, if you had my book, you can order it on Amazon. I'll let you know when it's available. You would flip for today, September 9th, and it would say, make your intention for today. Today I will see the signs all around me. That's all you have to do. Set the intention. You can set an intention every day for all kinds of things, but this is just a nice little reminder to set that intention. Today we'll see the signs all around me. Okay, so I've talked about this subject a lot with my clients because I have some clients that are looking for signs, and I was one of those people in the past that just did not. I just thought it was all like crazy talk. I really did. I mean, if you didn't know, I used to be a therapist. I used to be a psychotherapist for, I think it's like 12 or 14 years. And I worked with, so I came from the whole academic, side of things, the science and psychology and all that lovely stuff. And I was never like, I grew up atheist. I grew up really just not believing in anything. If surprise, surprise, here I am. But I did not believe in anything. I didn't believe in God. I didn't believe in, I was one of those kids that it's like, if I didn't see it, I didn't believe it. So now here we are, and I'm like, oh gosh, now it's backwards. You have to believe it to see it. And so I have made, leaps and bounds of improvements in my life going from that mentality to where I am now. Okay, so the signs. So I thought people were just crazy. Crazy for looking, like, seeing like so much into things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, people are nuts. And of course I was a therapist, so we kind of think everybody's nuts, and that's just unfortunate. we're trying to label, well, not me anymore. I don't label anything. I try not to label anything because it's so unfair. It's just so unfair. Um, labels are just, they're heavy. They're just not fun unless they're fun labels, right? Um, like I have some labels that I do label. Like I'm an introvert. True, I'm a true blue introvert. However, a lot of times my husband does not believe me. He totally believes me that I'm an introvert because he lives with me and he sees that I could be by myself for days and be so happy. I don't like to be around people all the time. And but I can be out, and if I'm in this, if I'm in that zone, I'm like I love talking to people. So I don't really seem like an introvert, but I totally am. I totally am. So anyway, that's one label that I use because it's pretty harmless for me. It's harmless. It's just I like to be alone. I'm an only child. I really love my alone time. So anyway, let's get back to signs. So I never I never bought into all this stuff of seeing signs until I got into Abraham Hicks and really started seeing things and then really understanding. Like I deep dove into Abraham's stuff to learn everything. Like I learned everything I possibly could. I learned, I tell my clients all the time, if you really want to get this stuff, look up every topic you can think of on YouTube. Abraham Hicks, whatever. Abraham Hicks, whatever. Any topic, any and every single topic that comes to your mind, look it up and listen to it because it will fill in all the pieces for you. So don't just go like Abraham Hicks and money. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, I think they just get stuck on like the one or two things. Like, I want to attract a soulmate or a partner, and money, and that's it. But really dig into all the topics of the world, all the topics, and really just let them sink in. And then you're going to see the big, huge picture. And I know a lot of you already know this big picture. I've only been following Abraham for 2 years, which is really insane in my eyes because I've known of them, but I didn't know anything about them. So I've been teaching law of attraction since 2007. So, and just Abraham Hicks for the last 2 years. So that's crazy, right? Totally craziness. So the signs, when I really got into noticing signs, like what they actually are, like I started believing them and then I started seeing them. And it was just a lot of fun. So like, of course, like the numbers. I'm not, I used to be into numerology. I'm not anymore just because because pretty much it's just if you know that whatever you believe is what comes true to you. Like I just like to get to the real truth. And if it's just my belief system, then it's like I get into this place of like I know too much. Like a lot of us know too much to like buy into certain things to be true. So I don't know if that even made sense, but it does in my mind. So numbers. So there's the whole like, oh, I saw 1111 today on my clock, or 111, or 999, or whatever sequence of numbers. Say they're triple numbers or quadruple numbers, and they're all the same number, right? So in the Abraham land, it's about alignment. It's alignment. So what that means is that you're in a good place, like good feeling moment, and your inner being guided your awareness over to the clock at that particular time. So if you're like, I always see the clock at 11:11, that only comes around twice a day, right? So of all the seconds and minutes of every day, your inner guidance guides your attention, like your head, your attention over to the clock in that moment. You can't explain it, right? You can't explain it most of the time. When you happen to just glance at the clock and there's the numbers again, you're like, oh my God, I always see it at that time. And then when you affirm it, over and over, then it just becomes this thing that you see all the time, right? It's like when you say, I always see 11:11. Every time you see it, you're like, gosh, I always see it. That's so cool. It becomes something important to you. So your inner guidance knows to guide your attention to the clock in that moment because it knows that it's important to you. Like it's in a fun way. So Abraham Hicks talks about how the whole number thing is just this thing that society has made like kind of important to us. It's just one thing. You can do that with everything. That's what they talk about. It's very brief. I mean, it's not very often that they talk about it, but they have like, it doesn't have to be just numbers, guys. It could be anything. So like say you're at the beach or you're on a cruise ship or whatever, and you love dolphins. You love dolphins. Your inner being knows you love dolphins. You say it to your friends, oh, I would love to see some dolphins. I love dolphins, all that sort of thing. And so you're walking along the beach, and all of a sudden you just turn your head at the right moment, and you see dolphins swimming or jumping out of jumping in the ocean. You're like, oh, wow. It's those moments. Those are signs, right? Those are the things that are important to you. You can tell your inner guidance, you can tell the universe what's important for you that you would like to, be aware of. And your guidance will tell you, your inner being will tell you. Like I do this for what time I want to wake up in the morning. I'll be like, okay, so I really want to get up at whatever, 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it is. And it's so good at getting me up at that time. It's so rare for me to set an alarm. I just never do it. The only time I do set an alarm is if I'm away in a hotel and I have to get up early for something, like an Abraham Hicks workshop. That's when I would set an alarm. But I always wake up typically before that alarm goes off. So that's not a sign, but I'm just talking about like that's your inner guidance will make you aware of things. It's a really cool feature of being human, of being, an extension of source energy, is that you get to decide what's important to you, and you get to, I'll let your inner being know, please, that would be really awesome. It'd be a lot of fun if you could, point me in that direction. And one of the Abrahams talking about this, they talk about, well, it will do the same thing for the winning lottery ticket as well. It'll tell it'll guide you to have the feeling or the inspiration to buy a ticket at the right time, that sort of thing. So it doesn't have to be just numbers. So the numbers, I know that they say stuff like that's just child's play. It's such a tiny little thing in the grand scheme of things that we could manifest. So set the intention. Today we'll see the signs all around me. And it's not like you have to be on the lookout for it. And I think a lot of people do that they're like always on the lookout for some meaning in things and looking for the signs. And I'm like, no, when you get into the right frame of, or the right good feeling place, you're going to be guided to the signs. The thing is that you actually have to do what I thought people were crazy about doing, is see more into the signs, more into them. So like when a bunny is in my backyard or in my yard in general, that is a sign of my grandmother being here, because it became that way. And I don't remember how it became that way originally, but it did. So of course, everybody knows that when there's a bunny that's running through my yard, it's my grandmother. And I did that with some other animals and some other non-physical friends of mine. So you have to give things more meaning than the average person would. But how you do that is whatever comes to your mind in that moment is what it is. So it's not like, well, you can say, well, I'm going to make turtles about this or whatever it is. And then your inner guidance knows that if it really wants to, tell you something about something, it just needs to show you a turtle or whatever. So, but So whatever comes to your mind in that moment is right. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. And there's a lot of things that come out of that. It's like, some birds. Like I was trying, my aunt had transitioned to non-physical a couple months ago, and um, I'm like, oh, good, another. I don't want to say oh good, but in this world, it's like another non-physical friend to play with. Because I seem to have more non-physical friends than I do physical friends. So, and I thought, oh, I wonder what animal she'll be. And then I didn't think of anything. And then I was sitting at my desk a couple days later, and this bird came up in an odd place in front of my office window. It's like birds typically don't come over here. And so I looked, I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then I instantly thought of her. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, hi, Debbie. What's going on? It's like that presence was here. So if you see things that catch your eye and it seems kind of cool, and your next thought is about something, there it is. Okay. So remember, you can make intentions every day. They'd be really cool. It's actually really super beneficial if you did make an intention for every day of whatever it is. I know we have, excuse me, we have more in the book. I have more in the book of setting intentions. A few, not very many, but a few. So you can say, make your intention for today that I'm going to find money on the ground. Or that, whatever it is, whatever you can think of. Whatever would be fun to manifest. Okay, guys, I will leave you here. Let me know in the comments below of signs for you. And what are your favorite numbers? Oh, yeah, I remember, what was it? Oh, I remember the number's 1013. It was my previous wedding anniversary. My previous, what's that called? My previous marriage. We got married on 1013. So 1013 is a number that was in my life for a few years. And so I kept seeing on the clock. And I was getting annoyed because I'm like, I don't want to see 1013. And like my husband now, our anniversary is 713. Because my favorite number is 13. And I keep marrying men who have the same favorite number. So it's my second husband. I haven't married a whole bunch of them. But he likes the number 13 as well. So 713. Our first date was on 513. And so it was a couple years later that we got married, not 2 months. But so it was 513. We almost got married on 513, but it wasn't working out. So we moved it to 713, and there we are. So my new anniversary date is 713. And guess the numbers. So in that day, there was a day I remember getting in my car and I looked at the clock and I'm like, 1013, that needs to go. I don't want to see that one anymore. I'm like, what would be really cool to see is my birthday. 517. So I see 517 more now. I rarely ever see 1013. I see 713 all the time. I see 513 occasionally, and I see 315. Lots of numbers. I have lots of numbers in my life. 315 reminds me of my grandmother because it was her address. Or no, it was her area code of where she used to live. So that always reminds me. So if I see 13 or 315 on a house or an address or something, I'm like, hey, Grandma, that sort of thing. Okay, so tell me what numbers are fun and important to you and that you actually see a lot or that you would like to see. Like set an intention of a number you'd like to see. This is just little fun stuff that is really the stepping stones to really believing in more and more things. Like if you can get these numbers that are like, oh my God, I see these numbers all the time. It's pretty cool. Then it's like manifesting a cup of coffee, like I think it's from the movie The Secret, how you manifest just a cup of coffee and then you just work your way from there. You work your way up from there. Okay, guys, I gotta go. My voice is hurting. I will see you all tomorrow. Have an amazing day. Bye bye. Welcome back to The Inspired Entrepreneur with Heather Hope.